Good morning and welcome to day 2 of Review for Inequalities. We're going to be taking that test tomorrow on Tuesday, April 21st. So we are reviewing for your inequalities test today. First question on your test is going to look something like this, where they're going to have a graph and then they want you to write the inequality to represent the graph. It is always best, not that you have to do it this way, but it is best that you write your letter first. And after you write your letter, then you can put your number in here, and we're going up to the number -5. Now, we have to decide what symbol is going to go in here. Is it an equal sign? Is it greater than? Is it less than? Is it greater than or equal to? Less than or equal to? Well, because it's shading to the right, we know that these numbers are getting bigger, 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 bigger. So we're going to put a greater than sign in there. And then you look to see, is this colored in or not colored in? And because it is not colored in, we are not going to put the symbol underneath it. So this is the answer that they are looking for. A variable greater than -5. All right, second problem here. We're going to solve and graph this inequality. So we have x minus 2. The inverse operation to subtracting 2 is going to be adding 2. Make sure that you are paying attention and that you are using your calculator so that you get this integers correct. So we have greater than or equal to, because all we did was add, and -11 plus 2 is a -9. So when we graph this, we're going to put a -9 and a 0 on your number line. On your test on Schoology, it's going to just tell you if you want an open or closed circle. So you're going to have some blanks to fill in. And because this is greater than or equal to, we are going to color this in. And greater than or equal to, our numbers get bigger to the right. All right, this inequality says any number divided by -2. And the opposite of dividing is multiplying. So we're going to multiply by a -2. These -2 simplify to a 1, so all we have is x, and 7 times -2 is -14. Now what number did I multiply by? A -2, so I'm going to flip my sign. So we're going to have a closed circle here at -14 because it says less than or equal to. Has that equal sign underneath it, so we're going to shade it in, and less than, our numbers get smaller when we go to the left. All right, this time they switched us and they put the variable on the right-hand side, but it says 4 times x. The opposite of times is divide. So we're going to divide both sides by 4. 24 divided by 4 is 6. We divided by a positive number, so I'm going to leave my symbol the same. And these cancel, and we have x. Now remember, when we are graphing, I highly recommend that before you do any answers, you could probably do the open symbol because there's no line underneath it. But before you decide if it goes to the right or to the left, you are going to want to rewrite this so that you put your variable first. So x is first. It's pointing toward the x. So I have to make sure my symbol points towards the x. And then I have my 6. Now read this. Any number less than. And less than goes to the left. Any number less than, and we are going to go to the left. All right, looks like we got to a 2-step inequality. So we're going to add 2 to both sides. So we have -3, x is greater than or equal to 13 plus 2 is 15. Now the number in front of x, it says -3 times x, so the opposite of times is divide. So we're going to divide both sides by -3, and I divided by a -3, so I'm going to flip my sign. When I graph here, and you look at -5, we have that equal to sign underneath, And when you have that equal to sign, that means we're going to shade it in. And this says any number less than. Less than goes to the left, so we're going to shade to the left. All right, in the next problem, it looks like we have an x and an x. These x's are on the same side, so I'm going to combine like terms, and I'm going to do 4x plus, and remember, we put that 1 in front of here, so we have 5x. Now, how do I move this 7? I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides. So I have 5x, and subtracting, no flipping of your sign, and this is going to give me a negative 25. Make sure you use a calculator so you do negative 18 minus 7 correctly and get a negative 5, negative 25. We're going to divide both sides by 5. Now, I am dividing by a positive 5. I divide by a positive 5, so I do not flip my sign. Even though my answer is negative, that does not mean I flip. I only flip my sign when I divide or multiply by a negative. And this is less than, so we're going to have an open circle, and it says any number less than, and less than goes to the left. All right. So we've got variables again. This time they are on opposite sides of that inequality sign. So I'm going to move the smaller one. So I'm going to subtract 3x. 9 minus 3 is going to give me 6x. Subtracting does not flip your sign. So that says 6 times x. The opposite of times is divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 6. Okay, make sure I have the right symbol here. Negative 18 divided by 6 is a negative 3. Oh, now did I do that right? I do not flip my sign. I divided by a positive 6. So do not flip your sign. So do we have open or closed circle at negative 3? This time it is a closed circle at negative 3, and it says any number less than, so we shade to the left. All right, this one is the distributive property. So we're going to take negative 7 times x, negative 7 times 4, so we have a negative 28. Make sure you bring that sign. Negative 7 times a positive 4 is a negative 28. Now in this one, yes, we are distributing a negative 7, but we are not doing it on both sides of this inequality sign, so we do not flip that sign. Okay, now I have to get everything away from x, so I'm going to add 28, add 28. So it looks like we have negative 7x greater than or equal to, and 28 plus 7, make sure you're using your calculator, so we get a 35. We are going to divide. That says negative 7 times x. The opposite of times is divide. So we're going to divide both sides by a negative 7, and we are dividing by a negative number, so I'm going to flip my sign. Closed circle at negative 5 because it says less than or equal to, and we are going to shade to the left because it says any number less than or equal to negative 5. All right, last question on the review for today. Looks like we have nothing to simplify over here. Looks like this x and this x are on the same side, so I'm going to just add them together. So 2x plus 1x is 3x. Now I'm going to get my x's together. So I'm going to subtract 3x. 3x minus 3x, those cancel out. So I have 4. All I did was subtract, so I'm going to leave my symbol the same. And 3x minus 3x cancels out, and I have 8. Is for bigger than 8. Is for greater than 8. This is a false statement, and because that's false, we are going to have no solutions. Because 4 is not bigger than 8. This is a false statement, so there's going to be no solutions. All right, good luck on your inequality test.